Say you were given the option to have a superpower. Everyone in the world, in fact, has been given the option to have a superpower. But you have to choose a unique superpower. If you choose a superpower that someone else in the world has chosen, you don't get to get that superpower. No one gets to get it. So
then it's a race.
Yeah. You could say that. Well, even if you're the person who thinks of something and you get it first, whoever else says it cancels each other out, and nobody gets it. So you have to get something that nobody else in the world is going to think of.
I got it.
What's that?
I would pick the superpower to take other people's powers away.
No,
not
even else would do that.
Not even just to have them. Just I want to be the dude who can take other people's powers away.
He wants to be Peter Petrelli's dad.
Yeah, someone else would totally.
Well, no, because Peter Petrelli's dad could then use the power.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like ruining someone's day. Like,
yeah, but then if I were to say I want to take people's powers away, you wouldn't have it anymore, according to those rules.
Yeah, as soon as someone else thinks it, everyone cancels out. So you have to think of something that's truly unique that no one else before or after during this little admission thing has thought of.
So I would probably throw some kind of a bullshit like addendum to it and be like the ability to take anybody's power away when I say the words Tony Mango takes your power away. Nobody's going to say something that specific.
That's probably would be the trick. You would have to be really, really specific with what your superpower is.
Right, and then right now, because I said that, Nick will be like, the ability to take everybody's powers away when I say Tony Mango, that's it. And I'll be like, fuck! He'll be like, I got you, now we don't have anything.
Almost like a Shazam situation.
Yeah. And it would be kind of annoying after a while, but...
It would be like you have a password to using your superpower. That would suck.
Yeah, but then you would have it.
But then what if you forgot it with Alzheimer's?
Or you just...
Can you have a password hint?
Yeah. Can you save the password somewhere on Firefox or whatever?
My password is incorrect.
Yeah, the password's password. But, yeah, that's an interesting topic. Obviously, every power for the most part would be...
Just to fuck him over.
It would be like, the first person would be like, I want super strength. The second person would be like, I want flight. I want super strength. Oh, fuck. Like, there you go. There's super strength for the rest of our lives. Like, now, is there any kind of a reset? Because, if you... Obviously, you're born afterward. Do you get kind of like a free thing?
No.
Or...
This is a one-time thing. This happens in, like, the year 3000. Year 3000,
bullshit.
God shows up and says, hey, everyone gets a superpower, but you only get this one opportunity, and you have to pick something unique.
I would pick something dumb that no one in their right mind would want. Like, I want to be Angel. Nobody wants to be fucking Angel. I would be the only person.
You know what? You might get away with that one. Especially in the year 3000, when no one would even remember what Angel is.
Yeah.
But what if some religious nut said, I want to be an angel, and it, counted?
If it counted, that would be bullshit, because they would have to have, magic divine, I don't know.
What if some dumb Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan was just like, I want to be David Boreanaz?
I don't want to be Angel. I want to be Asian.
What?
No one would ever pick that.
I don't know.
I wish Tuck was on this episode.
just say you want to be black.
No, because then all those white kids who wear FUBU, it would be completely canceled out.
Yeah, your credit.
You gotta give credit where credit is due, and those people wouldn't be able to enunciate that correctly, so it wouldn't
count. I'm pretty sure Barack Obama would pick that too.
We're getting all political and.
Yeah.
What are some other some stereotypical powers that we see from comics? I mean, I mentioned earlier the whole shoot laser beams out of her eyes and the freeze breath and
complete bullshit power that I would like.
Okay.
Stretchy.
Elasticity, no.
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic.
I mean, we're talking. It's not something that I would be like, if I found a genie, I'd go, I want to be able to stretch. No, but I mean, as far as the bullshit powers go, I think it'd be fun. I would use it essentially for nothing but pranking people.
Well, it's on my list of powers that goes along with invisibility. Something I wouldn't actually want, but if I had to have a useless power, I'd probably want that one.
Hey, invisibility's not useless.
I want a built-in Orgasmerator on my fingertip.
There you go.
So I can be Orgasmo. I could
There
just
you
give people, just shoot like laser beams at people
Just
and
shoot
make them have
orgasms
orgasms.
into them.
What if you became instant pregnancy man, where any woman you looked at could be instantly become 9 months pregnant and give birth right in front of you?
Oh my God.
I'd be stomping on
Holy
a lot of babies. Because I am not overpopulating this planet. You know what I would do?
You know what?
I would shoot my instant pregnancy laser, at the babies and make them explode. Just-
Now here's a question for that. Would that work if you were Daredevil?
What if? Oh, that would be so funny
Would it work for men?
because Daredevil wouldn't know he's doing it.
Would
Everybody
work
would
for
be
Arnold
pissed off at him
Schwarzenegger?
all the time.
Oh no, babies! No, babies!
Jesus Christ.
So I got a really cool superpower. I want the ability to be born with a super high midichlorian count.
The ability to still be the lead character despite horrible writing.
Actually, I want the ability to have complete control over my beard and chest hair. So I can make him like hard if I want to use him as like a knife or like a cheese grater, or I could like change him into any shape. So like if I want to make like a beard sweater, I could do it.
You guys remember
Could you-
Bobo?
What?
He had like nose hair that he could make come out of his nose and use it to like tie people up and have like whips and stuff like that.
Who the
How
hell?
how about the guy from the Skittles commercial who could like feed the lady who's doing his interview? He fed her Skittles with his beard.
Oh yeah.
She's like, what other
What other Skittles-based powers have we not talked about? That's already two. We've talked more about Skittles powers than we have about like some of the people that are actually in the Justice League, like intangibility.
Skittles crossed boundaries. I mean, they really pushed the envelope when it comes to superpowers.
I mean, first people were able to walk on light when they had those kids sitting on the rainbow.
Yeah.
That's a
There you go.
superpower.
That's one that just popped in my head that we didn't discuss yet. Invisibility.
I mentioned it.
Did
Oh,
we
you did?
just like talk about it?
Invisibility?
Yeah.
I
My-
mentioned it, but we can discuss it.
My friend Frank, out of any superpower, he would want to be invisible, and his reason behind this is so he can rape as many girls as he wants and not get caught.
Let's
Is
set
that-
up
Is that
the.
terrifying?
This
Yeah.
podcast has just
Still-
turned into an intervention.
I would not mention that I'm friends with that man.
Yeah.
I think he
He's
just lost a
still
lot of fans.
wait. He would still leave physical evidence though, like fingerprints and like semen and
But
stuff.
how would they catch
Who's
it?
gonna believe that?
Once they catch on to your game, though, I mean, they could just use thermal goggles. Like, oh, there he is. Poof, done.
Like Hollow Man.
Yeah.
Well, what if you
Was there a
wore
rape scene in
condoms?
Hollow Man? I don't know.
Yeah,
there
actually there
rape
was,
scene?
wasn't there?
There was.
Condoms still leave traces, though. I mean,
I just remember that dog dying in Hollow Man and me being really sad.
Maybe that's why I didn't say it. Somebody said something about a dog dying, and I just kind of was like, I'm not gonna watch that movie anymore.
I want
Me
to have
and-
the
me and
superpower of
Tony-
being able to sit through dog deaths in movies.
Me and Tony, why did I say your name like that?
Tony.
Anyway, me
I
and
want the
Tony-
ability to make sure that nobody pronounces it like that anymore.
Me and Tony saw
I Am
Am Legend in theaters. I saw it actually twice in theaters, and I cried. Me and him both looked at each other when Will Smith killed that dog. And we both had tears in
Bawling.
our eyes, and we were just.
And
we
then,
were
funny
done.
enough, we're sitting there bawling our eyes out, and we're just like, "Oh fuck, it fucking got us." I
Yeah.
turned around to my friend,
Oh my god.
Og, who was watching it with us at the same time, and he's sitting there. He's like, "You guys are pussies." He's sitting there crying too.
I got my crazy bullshit conditional superpower, by the way.
It's
I
just
would
something
wish
thought of the way that I
my-
kept pulling the crap out of my ass.
My superpower would be that everybody on the planet refers to Tony Mango as Tiny Mango.
I think that's just Burhan, the way that he types.
Or Kobe. Or Coney.
Cody man.
Coney Mango.
Fun Mongo.
My superpower would be for the entire planet to constantly say Tony's name wrong.
Well, maybe somebody else would beat you to it, and then that rule would get rid of it
If
after.
anybody beat me to that, it would be completely accidental.
He'd
Nobody's
bludgeon them to
intentionally wishing this thing.
I don't know. What about Nick?
Yes.
Nick's called me Twannis for a while.
Thomas Mango. How did that even start? It was like 6th grade.
I have no idea, but
Thomas. Oh wait, it was somebody was trying to do a Scarface impersonation.
Oh,
It was Augie. It was Augie, I think. And he's like, Thomas Mango. So it was Thomas.
So I think I have a little bit more innocent version of your friend's superpower wish. I would have the superpower to see through girls' t-shirts.
Nah, somebody would guess that.
No, it wasn't for that. It's just in general.
Fuck that
superpower.
crazy conditional thing.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the conditional one. I was
Now,
just
would
talking
that-
about
Okay.
would that
random
imply that you would be able to see through their coats and everything else like that?
yeah, you'd be able to see girls topless, essentially.
Just be able to
What was-
see through clothing.
What was Tom Green in Freddy Got Finger? His comic book character. He was like X-ray cat, and it only had the ability to see through wooden doors. Superhero whose only power is to see through wooden doors.
Well, it's kind of like Green Lantern, the original Alan Scott Green Lantern. He couldn't use it against like aluminum or wood or something like that. What was it? That was his. Instead of the yellow impurity thing that they went with, it was like wood could beat him.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it
Big
turns
Bang-
out that he ends up being the gay character, so it kind of works out.
I think
Would
Big Bang
destroy
Theory made a
him.
joke about that.
What made a joke?
The Big Bang Theory TV
Oh,
show made a joke
God.
that you could beat both
Hate
of
that
them
shit.
with a number 2 pencil.
Yeah, a lot of old superpowers really were horrible. Or they were a really good idea and they came with a terrible character like Jay Garrick Flash wearing a fucking pasta strainer on his head.
Yeah, so
Are we
dumb.
not going to talk about the character in X-Men that could turn into an ice cream cone?
Why?
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Wolverine at the end of the issue is eating him by accident.
That sounds like it could be a gay porn real
And
quick.
he died because Wolverine ate him.
I like this.
I wonder why Xavier was okay with this.
No, like
He's like,
He's extraordinary.
he was a villain. He was trying to infiltrate the X-Men by becoming an ice cream cone.
It's brilliant.
That's awful.
That's brilliant.
He's just halfway through getting eaten. I didn't think this through.
I should have gone with the swirl.
No, fucking Logan just bites into the cone once and he's like, fuck my dick. He bit into his dick.
I get it now. I thought you were talking about Logan's. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
why would that hurt him? Like,
Yeah, he bit into the cone and he was like, ow, that hurt my dick.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The character's name was I Scream.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Die.
See,
You know what?
I don't know if I should shake
You know what's
this
always-
writer or kill him.
If I
you
could
know what's
have-
always
I'm sorry,
creep-
go ahead.
you know what's always creeped me out? The dude who invented the lie detector ended up creating Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
lasso that makes people tell the truth. Come on, that's a little fucking weird.
Well, that was also like bondage fantasy.
No, I know what it was. I'm saying it's fucking weird.
If I could have any, original superpower, since I didn't decide yet, I would have mine be, I could eat ice cream cones and not bleed from the mouth.
Nobody's laughing because nobody else knows about that
I
whole
know,
story.
like,
But
like I did in middle school, I bit into an ice cream cone and took a chunk out of the roof of my mouth and bled all over the
gush
floor.
blood all
Was
over
it
the
fucking
little-
Gosh.
Captain Crunch ice cream?
Oh, it was like a waffle cone.
It was a Nutty Buddy bar.
And we used to fuck with the janitor so much. This is a story for another time though, and he just comes over to me, he yells at me, he goes, "You did this on purpose, you little dick."
That was so great.
Here's an interesting question. Speaking of Wonder Woman's lasso, if you could have any superhero, I guess, accessory that kind of facilitates powers, like Wonder Woman's lasso, or maybe like Spider-Man's web shooters or the Green Lantern ring, what would you pick?
Oh, man,
Catwoman.
Just Catwoman.
Yeah.
She facilitates Batman.
Either Green Lantern's ring or Iron Man's suit.
I would be all about the power ring.
The power ring's gotta be.
I mean, because first off,
One
green's
and
my
two.
favorite color. So, I mean, it's like it was meant to be.
You're certainly not going to be like the blue lanterns or whatever, where you can't do anything without the green ones there, or forget how that operates. But
Yeah.
um,
But can't
You
the
guys are
power
picking
ring
the
reject
lamest
you, though?
stuff. How about the Bat credit card?
it'll last
There we
forever.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's trust fund.
You know, I would want a morpher, like from the Power Rangers morpher.
Ooh.
That would be so great.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I
Fucking-
want a goddamn Zord, bro. I want a Megazord.
fucking dragon flute.
It turns
Yeah.
out when you get the morpher, you get fucking Trinies.
Well, fuck that.
Chris like, oh shit, there's no point in this.
I want the notebook that the niece had from Inspector Gadget.
I thought you were gonna say Death Note.
I thought that, too.
That's not a fucking superpower.
Why
That's
not?
a tool of mass murder.
Why not?
I mean,
Why
it's-
can't that be a superpower?
Yeah, I mean, it would work. I mean,
Now, why the notebook especially, as opposed to the Inspector Gadget, the hat, and all that other kind of nonsense?
We're just...
That's
No,
not
but
a
we're talking
fucking
about
hat,
accessories.
that's
That's
heavy.
not an accessory. That's the guy himself.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
He's
I'm
a
thinking
goddamn
Now
suicide
that you mentioned,
bird.
if I was gonna be like Inspector Gadget, hell yeah, I would do that too.
You would
Yeah.
have to wear.
Oh, I
the-
would not be Matthew Broderick.
Nobody would if they had a choice.
No.
Not even Matthew Broderick.
Gadget vibrating dick.
I don't know. Outside of the Green Lantern Corps ring, I can't think of any else off the top of my head. I mean, you can't obviously go with something so specific like
Not even like Mjolnir or like the web shooters or the Captain America's shield.
Infinity
Well, I was gonna say
Gauntlets.
actually, how about the Planeteers rings?
Yeah, or
The
Infinity
Planeteers have
Gauntlet.
pretty badass rings too. They actually had some
Heart.
pretty awesome powers.
I'd wind up getting fucking heart in
Yeah.
that case.
I don't want a ring
No,
where
listen,
like
you know
my
what?
greatest power
Heart-
is summoning a blue dude to show up and do stuff.
Listen. Look, wait, I got something important to say here. There's nothing wrong with the heart ring or the heart superpower. The problem was Matee. Matee sucked. Now, if you had put the heart ring on Wheeler, Wheeler would have been like a pimp with that ring. And he would have been like doing all types of cool stuff. He would have been summoning tigers to rip people's faces off. Matee was just a wimp. That was the problem.
I don't know. I mean, what about any kind of the stuff like Nick had brought up the Iron Man suit? Like, if you had to go for something that wasn't necessarily a superpower, what would you want to have? If you could pick, either you are more so Iron Man or you're more so Batman, or you limit yourself to the people that have no power, but they have something that gives them a power outside of that.
I would I would
excluding
prefer-
the Green Lantern Corps, because that kind of gives them powers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's power on
I
par
would
with
prefer
big
the
guys.
bat suit over the Iron Man suit, because if something broke on the Iron Man suit, I don't have the know-how to fix it.
But you would know how to fix the intricacies of the Batman suit.
Well, the Batman suit is mostly just body armor.
Well, Jarvis could fix it for you.
But do you have Jarvis, though? I thought we were just talking the suit. Would you actually have Jarvis integrated
Yeah,
into it?
because I mean,
I would assume so.
He is
'Cause-
part of the suit. Really.
Well,
you would just come with a butler.
Well, yeah, that
Tony's
that's
superpower is his intellect. Like he knows he's incredibly intelligent.
Thank you.
Without that, like
But I mean,
anytime.
so is Batman though. Like,
Yeah,
what good
I mean-
is the suit gonna do you if you don't have the martial arts skills to go with it?
Well, Batman's superpower is the ability to plan ahead and beat fucking
Yeah,
any
he's
possible thing.
strategic. He's strategic, and he's a detective as well.
To be so well loved that it's like, I'm gonna go vote for Batman over anybody else. Have Batman beat God because he
See,
planned
'cause-
ahead.
With all those technicalities of like not being strong enough like to use half of Batman's shit or not having the know-how to fix like the Iron Man suit if it broke, I think I would have to pick being someone like Hawkeye, where his superpower isn't really reliant on technology. He's just really good with a bow. Like that's his thing. And if
well,
you
then
were
why
talking,
wouldn't you just be Bullseye?
Or the Green Arrow.
Or Robin Hood.
Or
But I mean,
speedy.
the point is about people who don't really have powers, but kind of do the superhero thing. And I mean, I don't know, Hawkeye's who I think of before Bullseye.
I think of Green Arrow immediately.
Robin Hood.
I don't know why.
Robin Hood.
Robin
Probably
Hood.
because you watched the Green Arrow TV show.
Yeah, that's probably true. I love that show.
Well, is there any other kind of things that we haven't talked about yet that we can kind of touch upon before we wrap this all up?
Mm.
Shitty superpowers.
Well, we didn't mention like. Well, there you go. Like a power you definitely wouldn't want to have.
Yeah, which ones would you rather die than get?
Jubilee's power.
Really?
I'd never be able to play video games.
You don't want to make shit sparkle?
Well, yeah, it's fucking gay.
All right, here's a couple that are really terrible. They aren't necessarily I would rather die than have them. I wouldn't
Leave
mind
Aquaman
necessarily
alone.
having them, but there's no purpose to it at all. Does everybody know Matter Eater Lad?
Yeah.
Oh god.
The fat little kid who could eat anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
that's it.
I wouldn't want to be Chamber because his fucking jaw got blown off. Fuck that.
Very good.
I don't know if a superhero has this, but a superpower I wouldn't want to have is the ability to consistently shoot lemon juice out of my nostrils.
That would be unfortunate.
hmm I would definitely want to die rather than have that.
Yeah.
What if
kind
you
of
had
stuff
like a
from comics do we know?
superpower of like your turds weighed 2 tons?
Well,
How many
then,
Kurix would that be?
Like Nibbler in Futurama.
Yeah. What if you were cursed with that? And every time you went to the bathroom, it just broke the toilet.
Well, you know what would be the I guess you could say like the downside of even something as simple as like the camouflage kind of shape-shifting angle. You know, we've talked about before about, you know, like invisibility, you running the problems, teleportation, all that kind of stuff. What if you ran across a problem with your shape-shifting ability and you lost the ability to shape back into yourself?
What if you
I would
forget
hate
what you
that
look
power.
like?
Right, yeah, I mean that.
What if you had to like
that's-
concentrate to take any form?
Yeah. What if the physical transformation was painful?
Yeah.
And turn into something you really like and fucking stay there.
Or what about, here's what I would fucking hate to have, the Blob. He was just a fat ass.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
That was it?
I would hate to be Banshee. It just fucking screams at shit all the time.
that
I
wouldn't
can
be too
fly.
bad for me.
I can fly, but everybody gets super pissed off when I do.
I would hate to be a pyrokinetic that wasn't heat resistant.
Oh god.
Oh my god, that would be terrible.
The Human Torch.
I don't
I
know.
would hate to
one time
be
he's dead.
Keep it
Melt
away
Man.
from me.
No.
The power to melt.
He had the power to melt.
I
Yeah.
want to fly like thunder.
I don't think Sneaky Diver Man would be a very good power either.
Did he have a power?
I don't think he did. He just dived in toilets.
His power was making it back to the house after being flushed every time.
There you go.
We're gonna mention Squirrel Girl or any of that kind of stuff.
Didn't
bouncing-
Squirrel Girl beat Iron Man?
She beat Doctor Doom.
Wait, I know.
She beat somebody ridiculous.
I know one power
Galactus,
that I would
probably.
not want. One power I would not want. Have any of you guys seen what the hell is it? Sky High.
Yeah.
That one kid who had the ability to make things glow in the dark.
No, he couldn't even do that. He could only himself glow in
Oh,
the dark.
yeah. He was like a glow stick, just a human glow stick.
I could find
Amazing.
use for that. That'd
Well,
be funny.
You go to a
He was-
rave.
Yeah.
He was a sidekick, but when is that ever going to come in handy, though?
When
What if-
when the power goes out.
Yeah, I mean. that'd
Well,
be
light the
super
way,
cool.
light stick boy, and then like he lights up, and the enemies just shoot him dead.
Would his corpse continue to glow? Because there's some use out of that.
I would assume so. I think that I would assume that it would just eventually fade out like glow sticks do.
Drain his blood and make it a lava lamp.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Pretty morbid, but good.
What about a power like Beast Boy?
I like Beast Boy.
I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's obviously not something I would go for, but if I wound up with something like that, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah.
And are you guys excited for the new Teen Titans cartoon?
No.
I am. I loved the first one.
Is it a continuation or a re-release?
No, it's. I think it's made by the same people who made the first Teen Titans. I know that it's voiced by all the same voice actors.
Cool.
Is it called Teen Titans Go?
Yes, and it's in like a little tiny like comedy anime type style, and it looks really funny. That's the point of the first show. It was just like a lot of comedy, and I actually enjoyed it a lot.
I'm still annoyed at Young Justice being canceled, which, by the way, you can check out at fanboysanonymous.com.
Yeah, there you
Plug.
go. Cheap plug. That was the next best thing to Justice League. And I'm so mad. So mad. Justice League was one of the best.
Amazing. DCAU, well, the Bruce Timmverse.
So, speaking of like Justice League, we didn't really talk about like super speed, which
Flash.
is pretty much one of the big most prominent powers you see all over the place.
Yeah, that would only be useful though. Like I have a character in the comic book that I'm developing who has super speed. And the one thing that was like mandatory is that he had a suit so that his body could take the force, and they needed a helmet. So like insects or just even things just floating wouldn't hit him in the face.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also the breathing aspect, because you're rushing by the wind, and I know when the wind blows in my face sometimes. Just even like a good gust of wind can knock the wind out of me.
Now, does your character have like the same like kind of characteristics as like Wally, like the Flash, where
No.
he'll need to stop for a bite to eat because he's burning so many
Oh,
calories?
yeah, I did have that where he constantly needs to eat because his body uses the energy.
All right, is he fast enough to like go back in time?
No.
Or-
No,
And
he-
eat more.
Doesn't matter.
He has a limit. I think the cap on his ability is like Mach 2.
Mhm.
And that's why I actually named him Mach.
Ah,
Mock.
interesting.
Yeah.
Bang,
Yeah.
burn.
The last thing that I would really want to touch upon here is in that kind of a scenario that we had before, where we talked about, are there other people in the world that have superpowers, or are you the only one? Would you rather live in a world where everybody has superpowers, or would you rather be that one person in the world that has it? Doesn't matter what power you have. I mean, you could have literally the omnipotence power in that kind of a situation. Or would you want to be the Dr. Manhattan, where you are the only person and you kind of either keep it a secret yourself or you make it public? Like, what would you do in that kind of a scenario? Would you go public and risk the idea that if like the government comes after you, or if you suddenly become so uber famous that you can't escape it, you're blowing people like the Pope and the President out of the water because nobody gives a shit anymore. You're the new.
You're blowing people like the Pope. I was really hoping there was another part to that sentence.
Bless you, my child. Bless you.
Well, you're like, you've essentially become like the new Christ figure for this generation, if not forever, depending on like what your powers are and all that kind of stuff. Would you rather be by yourself, and what would you do if that were the case? And if you were in a world with other superpowered people, what kind of a role would you take?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't want a world where everyone had superpowers, but maybe a world like in the comics where some people do, but most people don't.
And I would be super fucking secretive about it. I wouldn't be out in the open.
But you run the risk with anybody having other powers, as you do in comics, where you look at like Ultimatum, I think it was, where Magneto in 5 seconds he levels Manhattan and kills millions of people.
Right.
And, would you want to live in a world where you have to trust people like that? Because we even nowadays in a world, we have people that crash airplanes into buildings and murder people on the side of the streets for nothing but a gang initiation.
Right. So what you're saying is you run the risk of living in a world not just with superheroes, but with supervillains too.
Right, because you can never control the idea, unless that's your fucking powers. You control people, their intentions. You would never be able to control that.
Realistically, I know that depending on what my power would be, I'd probably be evil as fuck, like almost immediately. I would be corrupted so quick.
I would be good.
Yeah.
I
think, well, it also kind of depends on what I have, because if my only superpower would be to, like, instantly heat water that's in small glasses, then I'm not going to fucking try to take over all the aquariums by killing all the fish. But,
I don't know. Eventually, you might go, maybe.
Take over a small island nation.
It would really depend on what the power was, but I think it would be more fun to like the comics depict. It would be boring if you were the only person, because then you would have, well, first off, there'd be that outcast, like that, the big feeling of rejection where no one else is like this. What's wrong with me? No one really understands the whole, like, what's going on.
Yeah.
I think the isolation you would feel, no matter how many people were around, wouldn't be worth it, no matter what kind of power you could do. And you said, like, being the Dr. Manhattan type, it's even too much for him in the Watchmen, and he ends up going off into space because he can't handle being around people, because it just makes it that much worse.
Even if you had a power like that you said about, you touch some water and it boils, like, that wouldn't just kind of become more like a talent.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I was just picking something fucking stupid to.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously
hyperbolize my point.
You magnify the powers, you magnify the situation. If you have super strength and flight, and you're like the typical flying brick, then you've got more weighing down on your mind than you do if you've got like Cypher in X-Men. He can instantly find the other languages. Well, you can make a career out of that, and nobody gives a shit. They just go, wow, this guy's a savant, and that's it. And you don't have to call attention to it at all. But if you look like Nightcrawler, you're going to have to run into some problems. Like, kind of assuming different possibilities there. Obviously, I would assume everybody here would say, if you have any kind of like a deformity, you would want the other people in the world to be more accepting of that. And you would want, you're beast and you think that you look terrible, but you also have Mystique, who's blue, and Nightcrawler, who's... Why the hell aren't any of them red? By the way.
Azazel is.
Oh yeah, Azazel. I just mentioned him earlier. All right, well, why aren't any of them like purple?
What about the Silver Samurai? He's silver.
Well, because all of the Sentinels are purple.
Wait.
Well, the
Mr. Sinister.
He was white, wasn't he?
He's white as shit.
Apocalypse. Motherfucker's purple.
And Galactus. Galactus is purple too.
Thanos is like a purplish pinky color.
I was talking about X-Men.
It's not human.
But yeah, if
Iceman.
Like, if you had that responsibility on your mind, you, Sean, say that you would immediately go evil.
I mean, I don't know, but I think, like, because there's that old adage that, like, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, depending on what the power would be, I could see it go into my head really easy. I mean, I'm only a human being like everyone else, and there's countless documents. There have been more corrupt. I mean, I can't really. This is just cynicism talking, but it feels like there's more corruption out there than there is people who are willing to do the right thing, and that's just political power. That doesn't involve like picking up Buicks and all the miscellaneous bric-a-brac that's out in the world. But it's really hard to say unless you're in that position, because even in games like Infamous, like I I always tell myself, oh, I'm going to be evil as hell because it'll be fun. And then I ended up feeling bad just fucking taking out random people in the game.
I felt bad too.
I don't know. But
And I mean, say you were super strong, and I mean, even if you wanted to be good, well, what happens if you find out, like, somebody killed your friend, or say your girlfriend was raped? What stops you from going to that person and just ripping their arms off?
Right.
yeah, I mean, there are high points and low points in every person's life. I think it would be kind of foolish to seriously think you had any guarantee over what path you would pick. And comics like the X-Men do it wonderfully, where they're not necessarily evil. They just have an opposing viewpoint, and they express it in a more violent and kind of in-your-face manner. They're more. It's all about rights in the end, but one faction goes about it one way, and the other faction goes about it the other way. I think realistically, you'd have more of a moral gray area if something like that would actually happen.
Like they said on Heroes, some people are just evil. That's just their nature.
Mm-hmm.
You put a gun in one person's hand and you put a gun in someone else's hand, you have two completely different situations.
Yeah, and that's...
Unless you use that self-replication power. Well, then if you get the wrong personality point, then you never know.
But yeah, and if you had a superpower that takes consequence completely out of the equation, who's to say what would happen?
Right.
Because, I mean, as much as the situation can come up in video games, the point is it's a video game. You're not going to act the way in a video game that you would in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast was supposed to be about just, like, superpowers, and it got so fucking serious.
Well, because that's the way that the fanboy's mind works. I mean, we can come off as the stereotypical nerd kind of a thing where we're going, Star Trek is better than Star Wars and like that kind of crap, which by the way it isn't. But it's really, I mean, it's that deep love of the source material and all that, to where we have these kind of discussions about, unless you're a fan of something like that, you never really understand how easy it is to get. Well, you brought up the Big Bang Theory earlier. They have a whole discussion on that show about it's silly that the male characters argue over these kind of things, and then they bring up, like, what do I care if how heavy Thor's hammer is, and then they go immediately into, well, I don't think it's that it's heavy. It's that you just can't pick it up because of and then it's well, what do you mean it's not heavy? It's that, and they get sucked into the argument. I mean,
Right.
A fanboy taking something like that, you discuss Batman, you can talk about psychology, you discuss Star Wars, you could turn into a whole discussion about technological future and superpowers. We get into the ethics behind it.
Yeah.
Creates some interesting conversation. Does anybody else have any other points before we kind of just end this off and do some plugs and say goodbye?
I'm sure I'll remember something after we wrap.
That should kind of knock everything out, though. As intended, this was going to be one of those real staple ones, so it's a really long episode, and if you stuck with us this entire time, I applaud you, and obviously, if you're a fan of this kind of thing, you should check out all of the other future episodes and the past episodes that we've done, because we are going to have kind of discussions that are as long and drawn out as this one, and we're going to have some that are obviously a lot cleaner and more focused. I mean, obviously...
I am not going to do anything cleaner. I'm warning everyone now.
That's why he's using his rape voice. When we discuss Iron Man 3, obviously we're going to go more for, let's just talk about Iron Man. We're not going to get into... ethical situations about multiverses and everything like that, unless it's part of the movie. I don't know. But so yeah, if you're a fan with that, check up on fanboysanonymous.com and on the YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow all that kind of stuff there. I'm going to give my plugs out of the way while I'm on a roll here. If you're a fan of wrestling, check out smarkoutmoment.com. If you want to know more about the random political and social commentary kind of stuff, you can check out onlimbs.com. And follow me on all those other kind of stuff, comic book movie, and blah, 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 blah. If you don't know it by now, you aren't doing your research, and I feel bad. Sean, throw something out there for us. We'll go based on Skype, what I'm seeing right here.
Oh my god.
Just took my superpower.
All joking and flatulence aside, when I'm not being lazy, I write articles on Fanboys Anonymous. You may recognize my horrible grating voice from the I Got Gameplay podcast. If you aren't familiar and you're a fan of video games, give it a check. We have our fun moments. That's pretty much all I've got going for now, and it's gonna go change my underwear.
Sam, your turn.
I mean, I don't really have anything to plug.
That sounded so sad.
Yeah, because I mean, I would like to plug the Science 101 thing, but I really don't know if I'm going to be able to get that going anytime soon.
Well, people can subscribe anyway. And
there you go, just subscribe with absolutely no content.
Right, just like your Fanboys Anonymous articles. Oh.
Damn.
Oh yeah, wait a minute, what place? What place was my article? Number 1?
Actually, it is at the moment.
What place is it for this month?
Number 1.
No, that was for all time. I don't know what it is for this month. But I had to do an undercut kind of thing like that. No, I mean, obviously you'll be writing articles for fanboysanonymous.com. So people
Not after this, you won't.
My next article, I intend to write about what I want to see in the new Man of Steel movie.
That'll be good. And by the way, it's number 4 for the month. Paden, your turn.
Oh, okay.
Unless you don't want to.
No, I'm just making it as awkward as possible. So I come from the Keeping Kayfabe podcast, which is also a wrestling podcast. I didn't do the catchphrase. I'm not going to give you the pleasure. We are a little bit different than Smart Out Moment. We usually pick a match from wrestling's past and talk a little bit more about the history of the significance of that match and whatever happened in the match and all those kind of things. But the big thing I want to push right now is coming up on Saturday, April 6th, we are doing a live broadcast in so I don't know what the word I want to use is. It's getting so late. We're teaming up with Open Mic Wrestling Night, another wrestling podcast, for a live show on Blog Talk Radio, where we will be doing WrestleMania predictions, analysis, and basically just talking about WrestleMania 29 because it is the day before WrestleMania, and I'm going to WrestleMania, so I'm going to be super, super excited. So check that out, blogtalkradio.com/Dream Elite. Saturday, April 6th, 8 p.m. And, of course, check out keepingkayfabe.com to find all of our other avenues to check out other episodes we do. And also check out Newbie TV, new-b.tv. It's a web channel that I am the executive producer of, where we create original web content for nerds, geeks, or whatever you feel like calling yourself these days. We have videos based on video games, as far as original series, reviews, playthroughs, discussions similar to this one, although not as deep and talking about death and depressing stuff. Oh my gosh. That's all I really got to plug. This was a fun night. Thank you, Anthony.
And
that sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't.
Thanks, Anthony.
That'll end us. At least you didn't say Tony the way that Nick did earlier.
Tony.
So that'll end us off with Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
I've had to piss for the past 45 minutes, and
I agree.
I want to make this.
Why did you wish for the
possible.
superpower to piss?
The power to drink your own piss.
Or the
But that
superpower
would
to
make
be
me
at
wanna
podcasts on time.
That would make me want to piss more. Why don't you eat a dick? You guys started late anyway.
Because of you, and you still didn't
Waiting
show
for
up.
you.
You might have just topped my Sam thing.
Well, I no longer am affiliated with Fanboys Anonymous because Sean's a dick. I write for Fanboys Anonymous. I occasionally come in on I Got Gameplay shows. And I have my own podcast on the Toxic Network. It's called Joystick Jerks. Check it out on the toxicnetwork.net, and also check out other podcasts on Toxic Network, such as Cinema Assault or BTG Battle the Grind. Battle of the Grind is sort of a poor man's Howard Stern. They do dick and fart jokes, and they also talk about wrestling and all kinds of neat stuff. So, whatever. Check it out. And I hate Chong. And I need to go piss, so I'm going to go piss.
That'll end us off for this roundtable discussion. This meeting is adjourned. We'll see you next time, everybody.